So I'm going to do a trade recap today. I had on ES, and do not let this fool you. I ended up getting stopped out on break even. So we'll start on the hourly time frame. Hourly, really nice. We ended up sweeping out London session lows, basically like right at the end of London session, moving into New York session here. And then we almost took out Asia session lows. NASDAQ, however, did take out Asia session lows. So that was definitely enough confluence for me on the high time frame at least. And then we also see this was basically like a high time frame order block, but I just marked it down on the 30-minute here, which is where I marked out this final move down before the move up. So this really nice one, and then there's one right here too, but I wanted this one just because it's the closest one to this draw of liquidity. So then we'll scale down to the 1 minute time frame, which is why I ended up entering on this trade. So we see here we got a inverse fair value gap. So we had a really strong break out of this gap right here. This inverse fair value gap, a lot of bullish momentum here. We got a market structure shift. We even got one right here, right? So we're closing above all these highs right here. We got a closure above this one right here. And then right when this closed, which is at the macro, which is 950, is where I entered long. Basically targeting these highs up here, just short of these highs. And my issue with this one was I just ended up moving my stop loss to break even just way too quick here. So we were well over 50% of my take profit. We were at like 60% of my way to take profit. So right around here is where I moved my my stop loss to like right here, right? It was basically break even. It was basically moved it to break even. I lost like $30 on the day on the eval account. So definitely could have stayed in the trade for much longer. Obviously we see it ended up take profit, but it was nice to see we actually had some good price action today. We saw some pretty swift moves. A lot of people took the same trade. I'm sure a lot of people, there was a handful of people that got stopped out. There's a handful of people that ended up like me, I'll break even, and there's a handful of people that ended up hitting take profit. So it was good price action today. Not going to blame anybody else but myself here on this one, but NASDAQ was more the same way. NASDAQ, however, kind of didn't have, I would say, the swiftest of moves. Obviously, we see when the macro opened right here, we didn't really have the same moves. NASDAQ definitely looked like it chopped a little bit more than ES, but ES definitely was moving very smooth today. Could have entered a little bit earlier right here above this closure. But again, I waited till the macro. I followed all my rules and ended up break even today. So it was nice to actually be able to enter a trade for once. I haven't entered a trade in God knows how long, but it was good to enter a trade. Pretty good news-wise today. News-wise, we didn't have too much today. We had this. It did make a little bit of a doji candle at 10, so yeah, it was right here, which kind of made me nervy because I saw this. I was already out of the trade by then, but I was like, damn, this thing might crash, but ended up not. Just was chopping like a motherfucker here and ended up smashing take profit. So not the worst trade ever. Definitely my fault for moving stop loss to close, basically break even. A little too early, a little premature. I just thought at this point that we were ripping, that I was like, hey, this is pretty much a lock at this point up here. But again, not quite. So maybe just moved stop loss to break even way too quick. Should have just kept it at where it was down here and just played it out. But again, it is what it is. Sometimes, it's just my fault. So overall, still a good trade. I'm not going to be like, I didn't enter the trade and get stopped out in a minute. It was a good trade. But again, my fault for taking out a little early. But again, followed all my confluences. We had our high time frame liquidity sweep, specifically a session sweep. So we took out London session here, while NASDAQ took out London and Asia session here. So we swept out both of those on the high time frame. We had a relatively high time frame order block, which was our 30-minute order block here, which we got a very, very, very strong reaction out of on the 1 minute here. We just completely break out of it here. We got our inverse fair value gap. We had a market structure shift multiple times. We had a closure above this high and above this high after our liquidity sweep and the bullish order block. So again, followed all my confluences, just didn't get it, so it's gonna happen. Not mad about it. Wasn't revenge trading. Wasn't planning on it. I lost the jar. Ended up at break even. So that's the trade for the day. So it was nice to actually be in a trade. Be able to see some green, some blue. So some profits, and not very good. So it is what it is. That's all for the day. So it was nice to actually be in a trade. I already made a trade recap on TikTok. So that's pretty much it for the day.